The most daring U.S. military rescues in history. Imagine you've just ejected from a burning aircraft over enemy territory. You're armed with nothing but a handgun. Thousands of enemy soldiers are combing the hills looking for you. A bounty is on your head. That's not a movie. That happened in 2026, and it ended with one of the most extraordinary rescue operations the U.S. military has ever pulled off. Today, we're counting down the most daring search and rescue missions in American military history. These aren't just stories of survival. They're stories of hundreds of people risking everything to bring one person home. Rescue 1. Operation Iraqi Freedom. Jessica Lynch, 2003. March 23, 2003. The United States invasion of Iraq is barely 4 days old. A convoy from the 507th Maintenance Company takes a wrong turn into the city of Nasiriyah and drives straight into an ambush. 19-year-old Private First Class Jessica Lynch was a supply specialist, not a frontline soldier. She had no business being in a firefight. But war doesn't care about job descriptions. 11 soldiers were killed in the ambush. 5 were captured. Lynch was found by Iraqi forces, severely wounded, gunshot wounds, a broken arm, 2 broken legs, and taken to the Saddam Hospital in central Nasiriyah. For 10 days, the U.S. military had no confirmed sighting of her. Then the CIA received a critical piece of intelligence. She was alive, she was in that hospital, and they had a window to get her out. Here's what made this rescue remarkable. Minutes before the operation began, a force led by British Royal Marines Major Mike Tanner launched a deliberate decoy attack near a bridge over the Euphrates, drawing enemy attention to the wrong side of the city. Simultaneously, on the other side of Nasiriyah, a Black Hawk helicopter loaded with Special Forces commandos dropped silently into the darkness beside the hospital. They moved fast. A member of hospital staff led them directly to Lynch's room. She was carried out on a stretcher, loaded onto the helicopter, and flown to safety. It was the first successful rescue of an American POW since World War II. Rescue 2. Vietnam War. ISEAL Jean Hambleton, 1972. Fast forward, or rather, back, to April 1972. Vietnam. Navigator Lieutenant Colonel ISEAL Jean Hambleton is aboard a reconnaissance aircraft escorting bombers attacking the Ho Chi Minh Trail when a Soviet-made surface-to-air missile tears through the plane. Hambleton is the only member of the 3-man crew who manages to eject. He parachutes into the heart of North Vietnam's Easter Offensive, one of the largest conventional military operations of the entire war, and lands in dense jungle surrounded by somewhere between 20,000 and 30,000 North Vietnamese soldiers. What followed was the longest, largest, and most complex search and rescue operation of the entire Vietnam War. For 11 days, Hambleton survived on corn, rainwater collected by sponge, and whatever he could scavenge from the jungle floor. He moved carefully, hiding from enemy patrols that came within arm's reach of his position. The rescue attempts were relentless and deadly. A Sikorsky H.H-3E helicopter, nicknamed the Jolly Green Giant, was shot down just 2 minutes from reaching him. Hambleton watched it explode from his hiding spot and wept. 6 airmen died in that attempt alone. During a subsequent rescue effort, he was stabbed in the back. It was not until day 11 that Navy SEAL Lieutenant Thomas Norris, later awarded the Medal of Honor for this mission, and South Vietnamese Commando Nguyen Van Kiet made a covert, nighttime infiltration nearly 2 miles behind enemy lines, disguising themselves as fishermen on the Mu Giang River. They found Hambleton, guided him to the water's edge, and floated him downriver to safety. The cost of the mission: 6 aircraft lost, 11 rescuers killed. 1 man brought home. Rescue 3. Somalia. Richard Phillips, 2009. April 8, 2009. The MV Maersk Alabama, a U.S.-flagged cargo ship, is transiting the Indian Ocean about 350 miles off the Somali coast. A speedboat carrying 4 Somali pirates pulls alongside. The crew tries everything: fire hoses, evasive maneuvers, distress signals, but the pirates board the ship. Captain Richard Phillips, a merchant mariner from Vermont, makes a decision: negotiate and keep his crew alive. Phillips agrees to lead the pirates to a covered lifeboat to show them how to operate it. They take him hostage instead. For 4 days, the USS Bainbridge and USS Halibutton, a destroyer and a frigate, circled the tiny lifeboat in the Gulf of Aden while negotiations went nowhere. The pirates threw phones and radios provided by the U.S. Navy into the ocean, convinced they were being used to relay escape instructions to Phillips. One escape attempt by Phillips himself failed when the pirates recaptured him after firing warning shots. Conditions inside the lifeboat were deteriorating. It was hot. The pirates were growing paranoid. On day 4, the ringleader boarded the Bainbridge to negotiate a ransom deal. The moment he stepped on deck, SEAL Team 6 snipers from Red Squadron were given the order. 3 shots. 3 pirates. All killed simultaneously from the deck of a moving ship, firing at a small lifeboat bobbing on open ocean, in near darkness. Captain Phillips was recovered unharmed. The pirates never saw it coming. Rescue 4. Bosnia. Scott O'Grady, 1995. June 2, 1995. U.S. Air Force Captain Scott O'Grady is flying a routine NATO patrol over Bosnia when a Serbian SA-6 missile locks on and takes out his F-16. He ejects. He lands in hostile territory. And then, against every instinct, he goes quiet. For 6 days, O'Grady used everything he'd learned in CRE training, survival, evasion, resistance, escape, to stay alive. He ate leaves, ants, and grass. He collected rainwater with a sponge and stored it in Ziploc bags. On multiple occasions, Bosnian Serb paramilitaries walked within feet of his position as he lay face down in the dirt, barely breathing, covered in mud and foliage. He didn't transmit on his radio for those first days, knowing Serbian forces were scanning frequencies. Only on night 6, when he finally believed he had a window, did he break radio silence and reached a fellow pilot overhead. Within hours, a joint rescue package of 4 Marine helicopters, flanked by roughly 40 supporting aircraft, was launched from the USS Kearsarge in the Adriatic. At first light, O'Grady sprinted from the tree line, pistol drawn, toward the landing helicopters. He made it. The whole rescue took less than 11 minutes on the ground. What made O'Grady's survival so remarkable wasn't the rescue. It was the 6 days before it. His discipline saved his own life. The military just came and collected him. Rescue 5, World War II. The Great Raid on Cabanatuan, 1945. January 30th, 1945. The Philippines. American POWs have been held at the Cabanatuan prison camp since the Bataan Death March in 1942. Many are gravely ill. All are starving. And as U.S. forces advance, Japanese commanders have begun executing prisoners to prevent their liberation. In one of the most audacious ground rescue missions in American history, a joint force of U.S. Army Rangers, Alamo Scouts, and over 200 Filipino guerrillas launched a surprise attack on the camp, 30 miles behind enemy lines. The timing was critical. The Rangers had a 30-minute window before Japanese reinforcements could respond. Filipino guerrillas blocked every road leading to the camp. A lone P-61 Black Widow flew low and slow over the camp to distract Japanese guards. The Rangers breached the perimeter and made it to the barracks. In under 30 minutes, 511 American prisoners of war were liberated. Most had to be carried. They were too weak to walk. Some weighed less than 90 pounds. 2 Rangers were killed. The mission is still regarded as one of the most precisely executed rescue operations in military history, and was the inspiration for the 2005 film The Great Raid. Rescue 6. Operation Gothic Serpent. Super 64 Crew. 1993. October 4, 1993. Mogadishu, Somalia. The Battle of Mogadishu, later depicted in Black Hawk Down, has just begun. 2 U.S. Black Hawk helicopters, Super 61 and Super 64, are shot down over the city. Chief Warrant Officer Michael Durant, the pilot of Super 64, is the sole survivor at his crash site. What followed was a desperate 11-hour standoff in the streets of Mogadishu. Two Delta Force operators, Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Sergeant First Class Randall Sugart, voluntarily inserted themselves into an unsecured crash site with no ground support to protect Durant from the encircling militia. They knew the odds. They asked 3 times before the request was approved. Both Gordon and Sugart were killed in the firefight. But their intervention held the line long enough for Durant to survive until capture. Both were posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. Durant was held for 11 days before his release. The mission cost 18 American lives total, but the 2 men who chose to stay behind became a defining symbol of American military valor. Rescue 7, Gulf War, BSGT Troy Dunlap, 1991. February 27, 1991. The Gulf War's ground phase is in its final hours. Army Staff Sergeant Troy Dunlap is separated from his unit during a chaotic engagement in Kuwait. A combat search and rescue helicopter crew flying a H.H-60 Pave Hawk, callsign Pedro, detected his emergency beacon and flew directly into a contested air corridor to extract him. What made this mission notable was the execution under extreme pressure. The crew had to navigate Iraqi anti-aircraft positions, coordinate with fast air cover in real time, and conduct the extraction while drawing ground fire. Dunlap was recovered alive. The mission became a key case study in the development of modern CSAR doctrine, showing that dedicated rescue assets, not improvised responses. Rescue 8. Operation Enduring Freedom, 2001 to 2021. Throughout the 20-year Afghanistan campaign, over 100 U.S. personnel were recovered via combat search and rescue operations in some of the most forbidding terrain on Earth. The Hindu Kush Mountains, Kunar Province, the Korengal Valley. One mission stands out. In 2009, a Night Stalkers crew from the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment flew a blacked-out helicopter into a narrow mountain valley in Kunar Province to extract a wounded ranger under fire. The pilot had to hover in a bowl of rock walls with rotor clearance measured in feet, in total darkness, while ground forces held a perimeter. The extraction took 4 minutes. Everyone made it out. No headlines. No movie. Just the 160th doing what they do. Rescue 9, Vietnam. The Sun Tay Raid, 1970. November 21, 1970. Deep in North Vietnam, 23 miles west of Hanoi, sits Sun Tay prison camp. U.S. intelligence believes up to 61 American POWs are being held there in brutal conditions. What the U.S. military planned next was audacious almost beyond comprehension. A helicopter assault into the heart of North Vietnam, past some of the most dense anti-aircraft defenses in the world, to break them out. The mission was the product of months of preparation. Operators from the Army Special Forces practiced the raid on a full-scale replica of Sun Tay built in secret at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. They rehearsed it 170 times. Every second of the timeline was choreographed. On the night of the raid, a force of 56 Special Forces soldiers aboard 6 helicopters flew low over the jungle in total radio silence. One helicopter deliberately crash-landed inside the compound walls, a controlled insertion, so the team could clear the interior faster. The entire assault on the prison lasted 27 minutes. Not a single American was killed in the raid itself. There was just one devastating problem. The prisoners had been moved weeks earlier. Sun Tay was empty. The mission is still studied in military academies worldwide, not as a failure, but as a masterclass in planning, execution, and daring. The North Vietnamese were so shaken by the raid's precision and audacity that they consolidated all American POWs into a smaller number of camps in Hanoi, where, inadvertently, prisoners were able to communicate and organize for the first time. No one was rescued that night. But the Sun Tay raid changed the entire dynamic of American captivity in North Vietnam. Rescue 10, Iran, 2026. Which brings us back to where we started. April 2026. A U.S. airman's aircraft is shot down over southern Iran. He ejects into mountainous terrain. Iran immediately offers a reward for his capture. Dozens of armed civilians swarm the hillsides looking for him, rifles in hand. For almost 2 days, the airman, a weapons expert, armed with only a handgun, evades capture. Meanwhile, the CIA is running a deception operation, feeding Iranian forces false intelligence about his location, buying time. Then comes the rescue, hundreds of Special Forces commandos, MQ-9 Reaper drones, fighter jets providing air cover. The kind of resource commitment that says we are not leaving anyone behind, no matter what it costs. President Trump called it one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history. Based on everything we've just covered, that is saying something. From the jungles of Vietnam to the mountains of Iran, one thing ties all of these missions together: the U.S. military's refusal to leave people behind. That principle has cost lives. If you made it this far, hit subscribe. We cover military history, special operations, and stories like these every week. And drop a comment. Which of these rescues surprised you the most?